Okay, so
What, Mama?
nothing, baby. Um, that is one way to tell the difference between a shark and a fish. The fish has the gills at the bottom. The fish or rays have gills at the bottom. The shark has the gills on the side. So this is a saw shark, and this is a saw fish. Their tails are also a little bit different. See how this one is bigger here and then smaller here, but this one is more equal because this is a saw shark and this one is a saw fish. Okay, so the tails are one way to tell the difference between the sharks. So a shark's tail helps push it along. Fast swimmers have curved tails. The thresher shark has a long, strong tail to knock out its prey. So look at the difference between the tails here. The tiger shark has a long, pointy tail. See, Bunny?
Oh.
The long, pointy tail. The nurse shark, it almost looks like a little foot. The thresher shark has this long tail that they use to actually knock out prey. It hits it with it. Look at the cookie cutter shark. That has a very distinctive tail. And then the great white shark. So see the difference between the great white shark when these two parts of the tail are the same, and like the saw shark where this part is much bigger. So that's one way to identify which shark is which. Okay, so then we have this. So sharks have the same senses as us. They see, they hear, they smell, but they're much stronger. So a shark's eyes can see well in dim underwater light. So remember, that was one of the things that nocturnal animals have to have. They have to be able to see well in the dark. And sharks can see well in not pure darkness, but if it's not very much light. So that's one reason, because they are nocturnal. And sharks have good noses. They can sniff out blood half a mile away. That's why sometimes if people crash into the water, like in a plane or something, and they're bleeding, sometimes sharks will come because they smell that blood. But not every shark is aggressive. Not every shark will hurt humans.
Mama, can you tell me that again?
Which part?
That thing that somebody fell down from it.
So if you have some problem in the water, if you get hurt in the water and you're bleeding, sometimes sharks will come because they smell that blood. Their noses are really, really strong. They can smell that blood half a mile away, and sometimes they'll come try to get some food, because that's all sharks do, is they basically look for food all the time. So, because they're nocturnal creatures, their eyes see very well in dim underwater light. Their hearing is very good. They can actually hear the sounds through the water. A shark's ears can hear sounds traveling through the water. Touch, a lateral line along their sides, helps sharks pick up movement in the water around them. So they can smell the blood, they can hear any movement, and they can feel any movement in the water. So their senses are very strong, much stronger than humans. They can see really well, they can smell, they can hear, and they can feel things.
Sharks are so weird.
Yeah, they are.
Now let's stop learning about tails.
Okay. So the leopard shark. The leopard shark, it's vertebrate. It's nocturnal. It's a carnivore. And it's cold-blooded. So the leopard sharks prefer waters that are cool to warm and sandy or muddy bays. They eat clams, crab, shrimps, and fish. They have distinctive dark spots and saddle-type markings. So they have these polka dots. And they have a very different tail. Most sharks don't have this tail. And their behavior is they're harmless to humans. So if you're swimming in the water, you see a leopard shark, they don't care about humans. They're not going to try to hurt you. They're not aggressive.
So they're herbivores.
They're not herbivores because they eat clams, crabs, shrimp, and fish, but they eat small animals. They're not gonna go after humans. All right. So the next one is the hammerhead.
Hammerhead? Ooh, I'm glad it's the hammerhead.
Okay, where's our hammerhead? Can you find our hammerhead?
What's hammerhead? Let's see.
No, the shark.
Oh,
Did we not grab one?
we have
Oh,
it.
we have it right here. Yeah. Okay, so it has
I'm gonna look at it.
it has the head with the wide eyes like a hammer. So the hammer, its favorite food is the stingray. It will actually hold the stingray down with the hammer and then take a bite of him.
Ew.
I know. So hammerheads are vertebrates. They are nocturnal. They're carnivores and they're cold-blooded. They live in warm waters and continental shelves found in tropical and subtropical waters. They eat fish, stingrays, squid, and octopus.
Octopus?
So they have flat head and large eyes. They're a fierce predator with a good sense of smell, known to be cannibalistic. Do you know what that means?
What?
It means they'll eat other hammerhead sharks.
No.
Cannibals mean you eat something that's the same as you.
But
So because his eyes are on either side of the hammer, he has to swing his head like that to get a view all around him. He has to constantly swing his head. So hammerheads are not known to attack humans. They're usually okay.
hammerheads are so cool. It looks so weird, real.
Yeah, see, because his eyes are on either side of his head, in order to see around him, he has to swing his head constantly like that, looking around him.
I like learning about sharks. It's fun.
See, and when he sees a stingray, he holds it down with the hammer and then takes a bite. So that hammer, he uses it to hold animals down.
Mhm. What's the next one? What's the first one?
The whale shark.
The whale shark? I'll grab it. I'll grab it.
All right.
Whoa. It's so big. It almost is our size as a manta ray.
You know, whale sharks are the size of 2 elephants. That's how big they are. Isn't that crazy? So whale sharks are...
What?
It's true. They're huge. They're huge. So whale sharks are very gentle. They won't hurt humans.
Yeah, because they're the biggest sharks. But hammerheads, they aren't gentle. They're carnivores.
They're carnivores. Well, all sharks are carnivores for the most part, but it does not mean that they're carnivores. Does not mean that they will attack humans. It just means that they eat small creatures like clams and shrimp and things like that. Because hammerheads don't typically attack humans.
And leopard sharks, they're gentle with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're harmless to humans. They're relatively small, too, so I think they just try to stay out of humans' way. All right, so the whale shark is a vertebrate. He's actually an omnivore, so he will eat krill, plankton, crab, and fish, but he will also eat algae and some other plants. So remember, he's a filter feeder. So he just opens his mouth and all the fish come in and they filter it out. So he is a vertebrate. He's an omnivore. He is diurnal, which most sharks are nocturnal for the most part. And he's cold-blooded.
Did you read me about to me about the whale shark?
Yeah, so its habitat is warm coastal waters and open ocean. Its favorite food is krill, plankton, crab, and fish. and it has an enormous streamlined body and broad flat head. So it has that really wide flat head like this. Most sharks don't have this shaped head. So it is solitary, it means he likes to stay by himself, and he's harmless to humans. See, notice how all the sharks have the gills on the side here? That's how we know they're shark and not any type of ray or fish.
What's the next one?
The next one?
Is it the Catawba?
All right, let me find that. Yep. Go ahead and put that down.
It is? Oh. Where's the Catawba?
I didn't have a picture of it, but I'll just put the card down.
Oh, why? We need every picture on each one.
I know, honey, but I did the best I could.
Then let's do the blue shark.
All right. So the blue sharks are pretty tiny, but they will attack. They're definitely more aggressive than any of these other ones. So they will attack. They're found worldwide except the polar circle. Their favorite food are squid, fish, and small sharks.
It feels wet.
I think you spilled something there. They have dark blue or bright blue color underneath with long pectoral fins. So they're vertebrates, they're nocturnal, they're carnivores, and they're cold-blooded.
Carnivores?
Yeah. And they're relatively small, but like I said, they are aggressive and they will attack. See, notice his tail? This fin is kind of longer here.
Let's do
the great white.
Okay.
All right. So here's the great white. So he lives in temperate and coastal waters. His favorite food is seal, fish, and dolphins.
Dolphins and seals?
Yeah.
Oh.
Solitary, so they like to stay by themselves, but they can be aggressive. They're very intelligent and very curious. So remember that Coyote Peterson where that shark kind of lunged towards him and tried to take a bite? And he was saying that they're actually just trying to check out his camera. Remember that? He said they were just curious about what they were doing in the water.
No, I don't remember that they said that.
See, and look at his tail. These are about the same size. So that's how you can tell the great white. He's got the gray body and the white tummy. And he has a pointed nose and long, flat teeth. So the great white actually has 3,000 teeth. And each of the teeth are as long as your finger. They have several sets of teeth, so...
I need to go that. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I need to tell you something.
3,000.